Okay, so Tampa Bay Buccaneers lose to the Washington Commanders. They did a lot of things really well in this game offensively, a lot of things that they would like to have back, one key mistake late I would say two key mistakes late in the game that ultimately swung things for Washington. So yeah, let's talk about it all. Let's talk about the great start, the kind of, slow late second quarter and entirety of the third quarter, and then the great second half until things got off the rails once again. Yeah, let's just get into it. Let's start off with this play. So this is something that we'll touch on it later on, so Mike Evans is currently one-on-one against Marshon Lattimore. If you know Mike Evans' numbers against Lattimore over their two careers, they're not great for Mike Evans. They're really good for Marshon Lattimore, but there's two important things to note here. Firstly, Lattimore's been in and out of the lineup. Who knows how healthy he is entering this game. So that's factor one. Factor two is the Saints would rarely just play them one-on-one. That's kind of what people say, but it's not actually true. A lot of times the Saints would put safety help over the top, not because they didn't trust him, just that was their scheme. They played a lot of cover two safety deep coverages. That's typically what they did. So it's easier to cover Evans when you don't have to worry about getting beat down the field. And you saw Evans really win this matchup. This is a 3rd down and 9 early on. Mayfield's going to take the snap, and you see right here when he fires this down the field, this really isn't even close. And, Lattimore isn't able to press Evans at the line. Usually that's something he wants to do, but still, this was maybe a sign of things to come later on. Baker, of course, not going to miss that throw. Evans able to make the catch, pick up some yards as well. So, good stuff there by Tampa Bay. That led them to their first field goal drive. Although then they sputtered a little bit, and part of it was giving up long possessions on the other side. Like that's gonna hurt the offense when you just don't get as many possessions. But let's talk about what went wrong. This is a 3rd down and 8. Part of it was Washington was just defending the run well, and if you defend the run well, you get to these obvious passing situations where they can try to do something like this. It's a cover 2 man, really hard to throw to the point where Mayfield isn't even really going to try. Watch as when he takes the snap, he reads the coverage and says, hey, I can use my legs here, which is correct. If he can get past the defensive line, he can use his legs. I think I would have rather seen him just sit a little bit longer in the pocket. He had a clean pocket, and when you wait a little bit longer, it allows for avenues to open up. Right now, there really isn't a way for him to get outside the pocket. Because of this, when he tries, he gets tackled by the defensive lineman. Had he been able to get past them, he probably does pick up the first down on this play, but because he doesn't, they end up having to punt, and then Washington has this 17-play, really long drive that puts them up and completely changes the dynamic of the game. We then got to go over here because Tampa Bay had penalties stall their next possession, so now they're down 10, and there's only a minute 18 left in the half, so you got to try and make something happen here if you're Baker Mayfield, if you're Tampa Bay. 3rd down and 9, you can't go 3 and out here after all of that, or you're in real trouble. Interestingly, so the Commanders are going to be in a zone coverage right here. Mayfield is going to take the snap, and now there is a window for him to open up a running lane, so he decides to do that. The issue is it's zone coverage, so Bobby Wagner's right over the middle of the field. He's not going to let you rush for the first down right here. There happens to be a flag, so Tampa Bay already has the first down. It was defensive holding, but Mayfield doesn't know that. Watch what he does. As you see, he just runs over Bobby Wagner and picks up more yards as well, and again, getting 15 instead of 5 there still helps you. You can decline the penalty, right? So really good, just a great play from Baker Mayfield, and that's what you love about Baker Mayfield, is he's someone who you could argue if that's the smartest decision in the world for your quarterback to do, but sometimes you need it, and when you need it, he'll give it to you. And then we have to go back to Mike Evans and Marshon Lattimore, where the rest of this drive, so Lattimore is on Evans one-on-one, and there was a report Chris Collinsworth said where when he was talking to some of the other Washington coaches, and they do the pregame interviews, he was saying a lot of the coaches were kind of not saying that they were going to have Evans go on Lattimore one-on-one, or I should say the other way around, Lattimore on Evans one-on-one. They might mix things up. According to Collinsworth, Lattimore maybe vetoed that decision. He was saying, no, he's my guy. They have their extensive history. And on this drive, you see it just did not go well for Lattimore. You see Mayfield, Evans wins that one by so much. You didn't even realize he was the guy on him. You then have this one where, again, they're on each other one-on-one. You're going to see that Evans is going to go to the inside. There was a little bit of a push, but honestly not much. Lattimore was complaining about it, but, it is what it is. This one, you're going to see a penalty the other way as Lattimore gets called for hooking Evans, so that didn't go particularly well. And then finally, the touchdown one-on-one. again, I mean, you know it's coming, right? You just can't stop it. Evans able to make the play, so really good stuff there from Mike Evans. And again, not the best stuff there by Lattimore, who again is playing injured, but yeah, that's just tough right there. Then the next drive, which was later on in the game, because again, these teams run such long possessions, you have this situation. It's going to be, so they ran the ball really effectively. They're running the ball, and that's one thing to note. Another thing is, they tried in this drive to do Evans on Lattimore one-on-one again, eventually said, okay, this is just not working, so they decided to put safety over the top of him. You see how the safety on this play is very high towards the top of the screen? That's because that's the direction where Evans is. So Tampa Bay is going to just do that. It's just a pick play where they're trying to get Bucky Irving open, and there isn't a safety to deal with, so that's the advantage here. As you see, so Jalen McMillan, who was calling out where this player that he has to block was prior to the play, maybe a bit of a tell there, but hey, it worked. This is always one of those things where it's like you got to pretend as though you're doing a route. You can't just, the rule is if it appears as though you're running a route, then you're kind of fair game. If you're clearly just trying to create contact, then they will call it. This is borderline. But as you see, he does turn around enough. That's enough to give the ref enough to say, okay, I won't call it. Bucky Irving gets into the end zone for a touchdown. So yeah, really strong drive there. Really nice stuff there by Tampa Bay. Now for the mistake that this just can't happen. I mean, this is, Peyton Manning used to always say, fumbling snaps and fumbling handoffs, one time a season is one too many. You can't let it happen. It's certainly one time too many being up 4 points in a playoff game at your own 15-yard line. This can't happen. I actually think this is Mayfield's fault. So McMillan's in motion towards the bottom of the screen. I don't think he's actually supposed to hand it off here, just given the way that they're blocking. You see how he it's a fake, but I think he just bumped into McMillan. Now, was the timing off? Whose fault was that? The center, McMillan? I don't know. But Washington recovers. You got to give credit to Bobby Wagner for finding a way to fight and get that football. I mean, that's why he's going to be in the Hall of Fame someday, right? But it just can't happen. That's just a bad mistake by whoever's fault it was on Tampa Bay. It just can't happen. The Buccaneers follow that up with a really nice drive. So you have this big Jalen McMillan play. You're going to also have on a 3rd down and 2. Baker hits, that's Cade Otton. They get the ball in easy field goal range, but of course, down 3, they want more than that. At the 11-yard line, I'm going to pause it right here. Again, it's 3rd and inches. This is a situation where you really want to go up 4 points here. I mean, that would just completely change this game as opposed to just tying the game. If you tie the game, it almost feels like you're losing, given the fact that there isn't a ton of time left and the Commanders would have the ball. And here they just mess up the snap count. The snap comes before the team is ready, and because of that, they lose a good amount of yards. Bucky Irving does what he can, but they still lose 3 yards. Ultimately decide that going for it there isn't worth the risk and kick the field goal. I mean, if you get that, I mean, who knows what happens, right? But given the way this offense had been playing, you assume they get the 1st down. And again, no guarantee they get the touchdown, but still, it's a big play there. That's the thing about the playoffs, right? I mean, these little things matter. These little things matter in the regular season, but really in these tight games, you got to hit on this stuff. And yeah, I mean, really, this was the game. I mean, Washington, they had the ball for the rest of the game. This was the last offensive play Tampa Bay ran in the 2024 season was this one, which is a screwed up snap. They kicked the field goal. I don't know if you should have gone for it there or not. It's a tough situation. You probably should have gone for it, just given how Washington's going to play. They should have gone for it. They should have. That's just it. But also, they should have never been in that situation because they shouldn't have screwed up the snaps. So, no one to blame but themselves. Tampa Bay, too many penalties, too many mistakes like this. Hard to beat a good Washington team when you do that. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. But what are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And, of course, as always, thanks for watching.